Because you just said it perfectly, the circus, and it hurt him. Well, the circus,
Oh
and
shit.
it hurt him. Hey guys, this is your favorite neighborhood gambler, Moss Money. Thanks for clicking on my video. If you're into gambling, if you're into winning money at gambling, hell, if you love talking Eagles, this is the channel and the videos for you. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, tell a friend to tell a friend, and enjoy the shows. What a picture. What a picture to grab. It just feels almost cringy looking at it because that is your running back, starting running back for your two-time Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles, and Agent Orange. Don't even look like his face is real in this joint. His hands look all white.
Look like he didn't have his tan. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
he looks
So
weird.
he probably really pale, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
right. You see his hands?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
his
his
face
hands
looks like
look
that too. That's
crazy.
probably why he gets all that orange stuff on his face.
Yeah. So,
It's interesting.
well, he is old, right? I think
old.
he beat Biden, right? Is he the oldest president?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, right. He beat
now.
Biden being the oldest president ever. So I put this up, and one because I know you wanted to speak on
Actually,
this.
a nice picture. I ain't gonna hold you. It's a nice picture.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering, is this the right title for this one? You let me know, y'all, about this one because there's a lot of controversy. Saquon has already said his piece. There's a lot of people still, rapping about it and how they feel. But let me know what you think about this one. If this is the right title for this one, bro. Is it more important to have respect for your people or respect for your morals? Because I think this is where we are with this. Because we understand, at least I hope you understand, everything that's kind of going on from a political landscape, whether you agree with it or whether you're not agree with it. I'm not here to judge. There are some blatant things that are just blatant, I guess is the best word to say it. There's no sugarcoating it. There's some things that I think that you could possibly look on both sides, maybe. This one is, I'm not 100% sure of yet. I know where a lot of people are landing. And unfortunately, Saquon is getting, the Jigaboo, the Uncle Toms, those type of name stuff is starting to kind of come up for him. Even his ex-girlfriend, I think, or his girlfriend now, saying, well, I will never mess with a broke nigga or something like that, who's white as well. I guess she's on tape or whatever.
She tweeted it out. I think it was tweeted.
Tweeted at or whatever the situation is. So the picture is not looking good, kind of from him. And then when you look at him, you hear him talk and speak, you kind of get that feel, you know what I mean? Or like, I know what type of time you on. But he did also say that he went, for him was an opportunity to meet the president of the United States, to have a one-on-one conversation, to golf with the man, and probably have conversations that maybe might be once in a lifetime type deal with some people might consider the most powerful person on the planet right now. Where he said that he respects the office, and that's why he went. And then I guess tried to say that he went with Obama the week before with him and Hertz golfing as well. I don't know I don't know how that correlation works. I guess you're just trying to say, well, I did go with Obama too. So but
it was a terrible response.
In my head, Obama's not the president. So, you know what I mean? You just, I didn't get it. I didn't get it, that part.
It was a terrible response.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. What do you think here, man? Like, is it, a lot of people, obviously, if you guys don't know, a lot of Jeffrey Lurie, which I thought was admirable, didn't force anybody to go. He said it's a choice. and folks like Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I'm not sure. Those are the big names that I know didn't go. I'm pretty sure there's more people who didn't go. Decided
Probably
not to
special
go.
defense. We know
Scheduling
who.
conflicts.
We know who was there. We know.
No, I didn't see. Honestly, I didn't see. I think I saw Lane Johnson. I know Lane was
Of
there.
course, Lane was like the face of the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Um.
It was
But
the old line, all the old linemen went for the most
yeah,
part.
yeah, yeah. But the interesting thing about this, Jalen's already been there. Jalen's already met Trump
Mm-hmm.
when he won with Alabama. When they won with Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he hasn't been to the White House and he's already met Trump in that first term. So, but I don't know, man. Let me know your thoughts. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot to unpack. I don't want to get too deep in the weed. Let's try to keep it high level as best we can. But I guess how does it make you feel? I guess the best way to a little bit of emotional response, I guess, would be the best way, as a personal, not so much telling people what they should feel, more or less sharing how you feel when you see this picture and kind of the things that are kind of happening around this.
I was disappointed. That would be my emotional. I was disappointed not because obviously the elephant in the room about who the president is and everything like that, but I was more disappointed in Saquon that he allowed himself to be used in this fashion. And I think we all knew, and I definitely know that the administration knew and the Eagles knew that Jalen Hurts, who's the face of the franchise, and right now looks like he's the face of the NFL as far as being the top 100 it was significant human beings on the planet.
Yeah, influential
Um,
people.
obviously, he has the look, and everybody loves Jalen. It might be different now after he did not show up, but they knew that he wasn't going to come, and I felt like Saquon took the bait here and was kind of pranced around with these photo ops and on the golf course and this little private trip on the helicopter and like who's ever done? I've never seen no athlete come off the helicopter.
So let me ask you this: was Saquon there with the team, or he just did a solo joint?
It looked solo to me.
So when the team came, Saquon wasn't there.
No, they were in Jersey. The team was already in DC.
Okay.
They took the helicopter from Jersey to DC to meet with the rest of the team for this.
Okay.
So it was, from my understanding, it was just him and probably his own personal team. But he walked off the helicopter by himself. It was nobody with him on the helicopter, but besides him and Trump.
Yeah, I saw that video.
So
yeah.
It seems like he was solo by himself. I just was disappointed. I was more disappointed because I felt like his response was very weak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this picture right now. You enjoyed yourself. You obviously, I don't know if he voted for Trump or he backs Trump, but I would say that this interaction would say that you support this person. And I would like to just remember that. And I get upset with these NFL players, is that especially the black NFL players. It wasn't that long ago that he was calling people sons of bitches for taking a knee. I remember that clearly. I remember it was a man named Colin Kaepernick that took a knee for injustices that was happening to the black community. And I remember that there was a stance throughout America and even across the globe of people in solidarity taking a knee in respects to that. I also remember this man right here with the white hat on that says "Make America Great Again" completely flipped the narrative and made it about the military and disrespect of the military. And clearly remember on multiple occasions in front of the media during his rallies saying how the NFL is disrespectful. These sons of bitches need to get their ass up. Remember that. I remember him calling owners and trying to force owners to make sure that these black people or people that was kneeling get in line. I remember that clearly. So when we talk about emotion and I see this, it just kind of gets to me because it's like, how do you get to this point where without an apology, without Donald Trump saying anything, hey, listen, this wasn't right. I took this wrong approach. Like if Trump did that, or maybe had an apology toward how he handled that situation during that first term, okay, I as an NFL player, maybe you can kind of I wouldn't be as emotional about it. But this is my issue when it comes down to NFL players. When they were doing a little dance and stuff during the season, it was like, bro, it was a minute ago he was calling you a son of a bitch, son of a bitch.
Hmm.
Ultimately boycotting Colin Kaepernick out the league. He was a part of that. So it's disappointing, and I'm happy for Jalen Hurts standing on his moral fiber and electing not to go and be seen and be in a situation with that he chooses, which is his decision to not support that. So that's my piece. Does it change
Yeah,
how he does with the football team? I don't know. That's between the football team. I doubt it because athletes adjust. The most important attribute to an athlete is how they are able to adjust. I think they'll be okay, and they'll get back to business come September, August, September. But this was just a big moment that I thought was like, man.
yeah, and and it's funny because we talked about Hertz, and you talked about almost like that Radio Raheem, right?
Mm,
What you know, what was it? What needs to be understood? What's understood don't need to be said.
yeah, don't need to be explained.
So I got that part of it. I personally thought that it was an opportunity for him to elevate who he was that transcended football. In my opinion,
Hmm.
if he would have spoke up in ways similar to like what Malcolm Jenkins did, right, in certain areas. And I actually have a clip of some of the things that Malcolm was doing back in those days with the injustices. I remember this one too. I found this one and I was like, oh shit, I remember this. But when you have those platforms like that, I understand you need to be strategic in how you use them, but when you have those platforms like this, and like you said, right now the face of the NFL just being named a top 100 influential person on Times magazine has everything going from him from A to Z. Everything he touches is gold right now. Yeah, to me you had an opportunity to express your morals, express where you stand, because sometimes I think even though we can move in silence and we can have just as big as impact or even bigger impact without saying the words, sometimes it just sounds good to hear it. You get what I'm saying? It just sounds good in the ear to hear what you really feel, or how you really feel about certain things. And I just think that it was a big opportunity for him to show that and be that type of leader, that I think we need, because he's a younger leader. Like we still, like even the Dr. Umars, the Cory Bookers, the even though I'm not a big Al Sharpton, but he walked with King.
Hmm.
Like those guys are, I think, out of touch with the younger generation. Jalen isn't, right. Jalen can remind the youth of what that exactly looks like and how to stand tall. Because I'm not sure, and Malcolm did a very beautiful job of explaining it, of what was happening, of how you move in silence and how that's a bigger impact without even just having to say a word. That's not necessarily translatable to the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want it to be up for you either get it or you don't. You know what I mean? I would have rathered him explain it in a class way, on how I'm carrying myself. These are my morals. I'm sticking with this, and this is how I'm moving forward.
So I'm gonna challenge you with that.
Of course, you would.
Yeah, I want you to think a little bit like like I just want you to go a different thought on that outcome, right? He's the leader of a football team, and he has his teammates, or a quarter of his teammates, or maybe half of his teammates, that are going down there to support and be represented at the White House. For him to directly oppose what they're doing by expressing himself would be malpractice as a leader. And that's why I think you need people, strong people like Malcolm Jenkins, that understands it and can express that. That's what it's about. That's what coming together as a community is about. Knowing that you have an example out there, you don't want to expose him too much, where it weakens his strength, but he can still stand on himself and stand on his moral fiber without destroying the football team. So imagine if he goes on there and didn't say what he said as far as a scheduling conflict, and we all know what that scheduling conflict was. Is that I have 28 people down there that are my teammates that feel completely opposite what I feel. I'm not bashing them for doing that. I'm just going to stay quiet because there's not much I need to say. Because if I do say something, now we continue to bridge that gap, or not bridge. We continue to create that gap and opportunity for other people, media, people like us, to come in and say, "Oh shit, what does that mean about the rest of the guys that went down there?" And I think his approach was a great example of leadership. The week before, when he was at the Times Magazine's, ceremony, they asked him a question. He stayed quiet. He said, looked at, I guess, his PR person, turned around and left. And she was like, "Oh, okay, I understand," and left it at that. I thought that was powerful. I thought that was very smart and strategic. And I know he's going to be asked a lot of questions moving
Oh, for
forward,
sure.
and I hope he continues to do this, because the last person that did a silent protest was hijacked. The last person that did this, named Colin Kaepernick, silent protest when he took a knee, was
He wasn't
hijacked.
silent. I don't think he was silent.
It wasn't
He
silent.
explained. He explained why he was doing what he was
Remember,
doing.
remember how long it took him to do that? It took him almost 3 weeks to come to a conversation when people kept asking him. They kept asking, "What's going on? What are you doing? What happened?" It took him almost 3 weeks for Colin Kaepernick to speak out. Then he finally spoke out. That was the process of that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I thought it was right after
No,
he did it.
it was a silent protest for almost 3 weeks, and everybody was like, "Well, why isn't Colin Kaepernick talking? Why isn't he speaking?"
Yeah, I would have to go back and time
Sure,
on that.
sure.
But yeah, no, I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. But this, like, I'll add. I won't do the whole clip because it's a long clip. But take a look at this and remember, you know, the things that Malcolm Jenkins was doing at the time.
Malcolm, is it? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? There's, this is, you guys are kind of embroiled in this controversy with the White House
lower that
and
phone.
Trump.
Yeah, please lower the phone.
Are you not going to say anything today, or just going to use these posters?
Could you hold it up again? We couldn't see it.
What aren't we listening to?
Talk about strategic. Knowing how people are going to ask you questions.
Could you hold it higher, please?
Could you hold it higher so we can see it?
What does it have to do with not going to the White House yesterday?
You know what I mean? So, like, to me, like, that, I remember that, and that was holds so much weight, because when he didn't go to the White House yesterday, and he explained it the day
Yeah,
after.
but that's a little different because they all didn't go. They didn't go. This is different because half the team went. You know what I'm saying? So he can have that expression if they're all in line, right? In 2018, the Philadelphia Eagles did not go to the White House. And remember, don't forget, Donald Trump was upset about it, so he revoked the invitation when there was complaints that they were going to go, or they weren't coming. So in
Hmm,
2018, they did not go to the White House.
I didn't know. I thought some of them went. I thought it was the same
No,
thing
no,
before.
they got the invitation revoked because they were having conversation that they weren't going to go. So in this case, the team was in this was solid in this approach.
Hmm.
In 2025, when they're going, there, like you said, there were teams going. Jory went, Coach Nick Sirianni went. There were a lot of management, and probably a quarter of the team was there. So, Jalen has to play the strategic and not continue to bridge a gap of saying what I feel like, and I'm against what they're doing. Or he can explain that's not true too. But at the same time, the best case was saying, "Hey, there's a scheduling conflict. I'm just not going to go there." If Jalen wanted to beat her, he'd beat her. We all know that, and I hope people understand
Of
that.
course.